basically what we do is that we look at issues of governance and economics and the African perspective, especially with relation to Ghana and Africa and our positioning in the world. We take issues and we critically analyze them and critically analyze the facts. Basically because we want to always give a fresh perspective to something that is quite obvious but is not made that obvious. And through our work we have been able to unravel quite a lot of issues. And what we like to do usually is that we do not only conclude on issues that we talk about, but we also like to spark off a little debate so that certain different dimensions of an issue could easily come up to light and then the right actions could be taken. So basically, that is what IMANI stands for. The word IMANI itself is a Swahili word for hope. And we believe in that hope and we believe in that purpose that we as Africans are in the right state to achieve the best for now.
So looking at Ghana's democracy as well as governance, do you see any challenges? Do you have any challenges?
Of course, in every democracy you find challenges. There is no perfect institution in this world. As far as we are human beings, our human institutions are always going to have certain imperfections. In the African context, we are seen as what do you call it? Those in the pole position in terms of our practice of democracy. We have had quite a lot of challenges. We've been the first to surmount a whole lot of challenges in terms of African governance and democracy. If you talk about handing over peacefully from one civilian government to the other, we have chalked it. If you talk about handing over from one main political organization to an opposition political organization peacefully, we have done it. If you talk about having to transition from one president to the other, like what happened in the last 2 weeks when the demise of the sitting president necessitated a transition into another vice president, we have done it. We have done all those in a quite peaceable, seamless manner. However, a lot needs to also be done in terms of our ability to have depth, even especially in the realm of politics, where issues should be approached not with a prejudiced point of view, but with an objective point of view. What is lacking in our democracy is an ability to be clearly objective without sounding sycophantic, because then usually there are so many vested interests, and IMANI has always been the center of such controversy because at certain times we happen to speak on the side of the opposition, at other times we happen to speak on the side of the government. And what we have done is that we have built our brand as a credible brand because we do not seek to satisfy any political grouping or the other. We seek to satisfy our ideals, our vision, our objectives, and we seek to satisfy the objectives of the aspirations of the ordinary man on the street in looking to see that the people that they have elected into positions of responsibility to serve the people are actually discharging their duties. Because what we see is that politicians mostly see themselves as people who should be served, people who should be acknowledged, people who should be put on a certain pedestal. Whereas it is they who should rather put us on that pedestal. It should be vice versa and not the status quo as it exists right now. So our problem as IMANI is that we want to push that enlightenment forward, that the politicians have a duty to us. We do not have a duty to them, and we need to hold them accountable for every single decision they make in the public interest. And that is what IMANI has been seeking to do all this while. Whilst we may divert into a lot of technical issues and go and do a lot of deep research and digging, the whole objective is that people understand that, hey, this is what needs to be done to move our nation forward, and we need to hold those who have to do it accountable.
Yeah, so from your answers, I can see that one of the key traits that we need in our democracy is transparency.
Yes.
And linking that up to the unfortunate demise of our former president. What's your take on this new line of thinking that health issues of our head of state or of candidates should be a political matter?
It is still a mixture of personal privacy vis-a-vis the public interest. To the extent that all of us would not probably have a clean bill of health, we would want to be keeping certain things confidential. Then also to another extent, it's about expediency. And when I say expediency, is it practical that, for example, if you have high blood pressure, you should hold a certain position? Sure, you can. If you can discharge your duties all well and fine without it endangering your health, then that's so be it. If the right medical attention is there to have a balance between your health situation and your ability to discharge your duties, fair enough. The ex-president, for instance, as it appears now, it looks like he had advanced, he was advanced in the ailment that he was suffering from. However, to the point that he was able to discharge his duties even to the day of his death is commendable in that it tells us that no matter what capacity you find yourself in, mentally or physically, if you have the ability to serve and you still have the zeal to do it and do it in the right way, you can still contribute your quota. Now, when it comes to broad national issues, it is important not to just trivialize and border it on just the condition of health. There have been other situations where there have been people who have been ruling and they've been undergone chemotherapy for months but still have come back to discharge their duties. Even look at athletics. We have the cyclist Armstrong who recovered from cancer, even though it was very difficult. If you look at football, we have Francis Abidal from Barcelona who had a liver transplant but still is ready to play football. So the health shouldn't be the main issue. The main issue is, can the person offer the right leadership and the right stewardship that is going to drive the nation in the right direction? For me, that is the paramount issue. Transparency is important because, of course, we also need to know and understand that from this perspective, okay, if this person is incapacitated in this form or the other, then we should not expect 100% output, maybe an 80% output, till the time that he is able to fully discharge. But then the balance is that nobody should hold the nation to ransom by saying that until I get well, nobody should come and replace me. That should not be the issue. So I think it's a matter of consensus that we all should build. And this is, as I said, this is a very touchy area. So as we move forward, we are going to look at the lessons that have been learned from this current situation to advise ourselves for future situations. I think that is the best way to go. But evidently, transparency is key. Once there is transparency, we all know what to anticipate as a nation. And it can even go a long way to stabilizing some of the issues in our economy, because the level of uncertainty can also cause certain shifts in the economic realm.
So broadly, do you see any role for social media in ensuring that there's transparency and open governance?
There is a very big role that social media plays. We should recognize the fact that right now in Ghana, you have at least 2 million people connected to some form of social media or the other. Whether it be through Facebook, Twitter, whether it be through text messaging, WhatsApp, BlackBerry messaging, Flickr, Instagram, you name it. Technology is the next realm. 30 years ago, there was only TV and radio. In this particular day and age, you hardly even find people watching TV as much as they used to even 10 years ago. However, they are always connected. I learned of the president's death through my phone. I didn't hear it on TV or on radio. I learned it through my phone. That should tell us that a lot of people are using unconventional methods to disperse information. So if these unconventional methods of yesterday are the conventional methods of today, and social media is the platform under which it runs, we must recognize that social media is probably the next driver of the next driver or the next campaign platform that the future elections are going to run on. And therefore, any politician or any political group that sees social media as a tool to spread their message across will tend to have an edge over the others that do not recognize that.
And back to the issue of the former president, do you think that will have any impact on the elections? What do you see?
There is a seismic change in the election campaigning landscape, because all of a sudden, strategies that have been built for probably 1.5 to 2 years now will have to be revisited. Both on the major government side, that is the NDC side, and on the opposition side, that is the NPP, PPP, etc., etc. However, we also have to look at other tendencies that are going to affect the scenario as it is. I think for me right now, the main issues are going to be on certain lines. One, the kind of character or the kind of aura that the current presidential candidate for the NDC appears to have, as in being a youthful person and being a brilliant communicator. That changes the landscape totally. Also, the fact that he's more vibrant, he probably might have a younger, vibrant communication team along with him. But then, of course, all boils down to strategy and how he's able to use what he has in terms of assets and then the infrastructure available to counter the message that the MPP will also have, or the opposition parties will also have.